Don't depend on your emotions, stop your anxious behavior. Psychologists who argued that altering one's thoughts would affect one's feelings predominated the discipline of psychology. Honesty, that is accurate. It's at least somewhat accurate to say that by altering your thoughts, you can alter your feelings. But there is more to it than just thoughts. Your cortex is actually inferior to an older, more instinctive portion of your brain. Additionally, current research on the effects of trauma and anxiety shows that many people's nervous systems genuinely control their behavior. You cannot simply reason your way out of emotions. However, you can think clearly once your nervous system has been calmed. Learn about your nervous system's two states in this video: how emotions can become lodged in your body or nervous system, and how to calm your nervous system down so you can digest your feelings, feel happy, and make wiser decisions. If you're on the fence about beginning therapy, check it out. One of the simplest methods to try it out is this. We learned about the fight, flight, or freeze reaction in the calm anxiety. The nervous system automatically responds to threats by acting in this way. However, your gorgeous, smart intellect won't just abandon you. Your nervous system has two automatic responses. The fight, flight, or freeze response, as well as a natural calming response, are all normal alerting responses. Let's quickly review. Our nervous system might be triggered in response to dangers when we feel insecure. The sympathetic nervous system has responded in this way. The physiological changes in the body are brought on by this. The fight, flight, or freeze reaction. Your nervous system can also respond by attempting to relax. The parasympathetic response is what is meant by this. When you think of pink elephant comes to mind when I think about this. It slows down the process and aids in bringing your body's nervous system and overall state of calmness. The parasympathetic reaction causes your muscles to relax and your eyelids to become softer. It also reduces your heart rate and decreases your blood pressure. This condition is sometimes referred to as feed and breathe or rest and digest. This is a state of healing. Your sense of calm and safety is returned, and your immune system starts to function normally again. These two responses are both beneficial. It's critical to be prepared to respond to dangers, but it's also crucial to take time to recover. These two states resemble muscles in certain ways. Our nervous system's most often used portion grows in strength. Both of these states can be easily switched between by a healthy neurological system. It is possible for it to go through these cycles of activation, such as waking up, carrying out a task, finding motivation, and dealing with issues, and then it may change to relaxation, taking a break, sleeping, and rejuvenating, right? In a healthy neurological system, the calm state predominates over the activated state most of the time. According to Peter Levine, the inventor of somatic experiencing therapy, our nervous system is built to go through a natural cycle of being at rest and then being alert, possibly acting in the fight, flight, or freeze response or at some other level of performance, and then shaking it off and returning to safety to rest and digest. He does such a great job of explaining this procedure and illustrating the nervous system cycle with the example of a polar bear. So this polar bear was calmly going about his business when all of a sudden, a team of researchers chased him down in a helicopter and shot him with a tranquilizer dart, correct? It's very stressful, and the bear can't do anything to stop these scientists from studying it and tagging it. Right. The bear has gone through a horrific experience. But after the researchers depart, he starts shaking terribly, which is his body's natural reaction to get rid of the extra adrenaline that was released when he was trapped. So, after shaking for a moment, the bear walks away from the situation unaffected. He then resumes his tranquil hunting and eating routine. The cycle is fundamental to how our bodies process emotions. We begin in a relaxed condition, then go into alert mode before fighting flight or freeze. After that, we brush it off. And in people, this manifests as smiling, physically trembling, or sobbing, after which we return to feeling safe and to this condition of rest and digestion. Take a moment to examine the shake it off stage now. Have you ever witnessed someone who narrowly avoided harm? Right? Like when a car almost hits them? They either laugh strangely at first or imagine someone who has been in a vehicle accident but is unhurt. They frequently enter this uncertain stage following that. This is your body's attempt to metabolize the stress hormones that you just experienced and burn off the adrenaline that it has just inundated you with. Your body will naturally attempt to regain calm by physically expressing your feelings. But humans vary from other animals in that we have a large cortex, or thinking brain, which aids in our ability to organize our thoughts, think through our actions, and maintain self-control. But it frequently prevents that reaction from occurring. Stop crying. This is too embarrassing, it says. Put on a happy face. Try not to become nervous throughout your presentation, it advises. Just don't give it any thought. And so, it continues, do our astute reasoning faculties and our efforts to suppress these unfiltered, visceral emotions. Our innate ability to deal with that stress response is hampered by it. Emotions become entrapped in the body as a result. We carry them around with us because they become imprisoned in things like cortisol, chemicals, and muscle tension and stress. Our bodies have the innate knowledge of how to let things go, even if we try to suppress our thoughts about them or use stress management techniques. He believed that I could assist him in some way, although it was unclear exactly what he had in mind. He presented as withdrawn, disorganized, and shy. He refused to look me in the eye. He talked about having sex issues with his wife and lacked joy for his ostensibly prosperous life. During the first 3 acupuncture appointments, deep sorrow started to surface. The patient would start sobbing on the table and had intense guilt and terror that he was unable to describe. For several sessions, I pushed him to let the emotion out without trying to categorize or explain it. He noticed reactions like these. The escalating sense of lightness kept him returning. He was starting to sense that delight was flowing through him once more. His sexual prowess was also beginning to return. After a period of about 3 months, this patient started to seem like a completely new person, completely unlike the man I had first met. His posture and demeanor had drastically changed months before. He had an aura of passion and vitality about him. His bond with her strengthened. He started to radiate sex appeal with his sexual expression and attracted a lot of attention, which also seemed to aid his creative work and self-esteem. We determined that therapy was over once he stopped expressing his pain, fear, and embarrassment during sessions. However, there are numerous anecdotal tales of tremendous bodily releases of these emotions or of trauma when receiving physical treatments. I'm not claiming that acupuncture is a cure for trauma or, repressed emotions. As a result, whether you speak to massage therapists, acupuncturists, or chiropractors, you'll hear tales of clients who start sobbing or trembling uncontrollably in the middle of a session and feel as though something has been released. Can we state with certainty and evidence that your trauma is kept in your shoulders, uterus, or that acupuncture allows it to move freely? No, simply because we lack the instruments to measure that. But it is undeniable that exercise is effective for resetting the neural system and treating trauma, anxiety, and stress. So I advise you to engage with a therapist that specializes in trauma if you're experiencing PTSD, anxiety, or stress. You might also search for someone who has received certification in EMDR or somatic experiencing. I therefore support treatments that have been proven via extensive study to be consistently effective and safe in treating these particular illnesses. I therefore do not necessarily support energy healing. For instance, I believe that many alternative therapies for trauma and bodywork may be selling a little bit more than the evidence supports. Yoga, for instance, has been proven to be a successful treatment for PTSD. Physical therapies like acupressure, massage, dance, or deep belly breathing are all things that people claim to help them with stress, and what these things are probably doing is rebalancing the nerve system, according to Bessel van der Kolk, making it more successful than the majority of prescription treatments. It has been demonstrated to treat mild to moderate depression and anxiety more effectively than medicine. And the reason for this must be that it facilitates the nervous system's normal cycles of activation and rest. Consequently, unresolved trauma or ongoing stress might keep us bound to the sympathetic response. It's like turning up the thermostat. The fight, flight, or freeze reaction becomes extremely sensitive, quickly activated, and persistently active. Trauma or stress is then embedded in the body in this way. And sick nervous system remains trapped in high levels of stress, infrequently transitioning into periods of calm, even when we may not be consciously thinking about the actual trauma. Your sympathetic nervous system takes over, and you become anxious all the time. You can detect danger at the smallest hint and find it extremely challenging to unwind. This frequently results in occasional weariness and crashing. We frequently don't understand why we are entering high alert, which causes us to stay there longer. Being on high alert all day and then collapsing at home or only relying on relaxation to refuel is unhealthy. We must learn how to control our nervous system all day long. I recently collaborated with a trainer who taught emergency room physicians, EMT, police officers, and military personnel how to control their nervous systems throughout the day. Now, a lot of these people work occupations that are highly demanding. And if they work in a fight, flight, or freeze state while clenching, they frequently become weary, traumatized, and burned out. This instructor, he teaches them the art of relaxed vigilance so they can develop a healthy nervous system. And for PTSD, anxiety, and tension, this is crucial. Therefore, I'll teach you everything there is to know about mental health in general in the next part. But the fundamental ability is simply learning to activate that parasympathetic reaction, that soothing response in your neural system, repeatedly throughout the day in short periods. And you can achieve this by performing basic physical exercises like deep breathing or tensing and then relaxing specific muscle areas. You can have a parasympathetically dominated nervous system and still perform well in a high-stress job. Our nervous system, which includes our brain, has an extraordinary capacity to alter and develop based on how we utilize it, so you can train yourself to be calmer. There is credible evidence that demonstrates our ability to alter the physical makeup, chemical equilibrium, and electrical activity of our brains, contingent upon how we employ it. Even the way our genes are activated and transmitted can be affected by us. Our nervous system may be trained to activate when we need to wake up, execute tasks, or respond to problems, and to slow down when it's time to relax, recover, for processing, or repair. And we achieve this by engaging in mental, emotional, and physical workouts. This procedure is the focus of the various skills you are acquiring in this course. We can make more powerful and intentional decisions with our lives when we are calm. By addressing our attachment and survival needs and rewiring our brain to feel safe, we can achieve tranquility. As we progress through this course, these talents will continue to be developed. Here is an exercise that can help you feel secure for the time being. James Gordon, a doctor, travels the world to teach people how to deal with trauma. He also applies research-supported mind-body practices. He uses these abilities to aid rape victims, earthquake sufferers, and combat veterans. Here is a narrative about him that was taken from the website mindbodygreen.com. Gordon visited the island in the months following the devastating earthquake that struck Haiti in 2010 to facilitate a workshop for survivors. In front of roughly 100 nursing students, I was running a session. They had lost roughly 90 of their nursing school classmates to this earthquake. Many of them were very young women in their late teens. So I got them all up shaking at the end of one afternoon, and within 2 minutes, half of them were crying. They started dancing while some of them were still sobbing after a little break during which we were conscious of our breathing. Later, others began to chuckle as well. They all agreed that it felt wonderful. Many of the women admitted to Gordon that this was the first time since the earthquake that they had been able to laugh or weep, and that they had previously felt that they needed to be strong or that they shouldn't be having fun. According to Dr. Gordon, when you stop feeling one emotion and enter a frozen state, all of the emotions you're defending yourself against also stop feeling. Your entire emotional life is constrained. Okay, so, here's the procedure. So start by playing some of your favorite music or, if you're stuck for ideas, something cheery. If I could, I would play it for you, but I am prohibited by copyright laws. Okay, then proceed to stand up. Place your feet shoulder-width apart, and simply begin shaking your feet, correct? Start shaking at your leg and let it spread up through the rest of your body. I want you to shake it out while listening to music. Be a complete moron. Allow your hands to relax. Dance for about 45 minutes while shaking your head. Okay? Once you're done, come back here and take a few slow, deep belly breaths. By doing this, you're essentially telling your brain's fear centers that you're secure. And in subsequent classes, this activates that parasympathetic reaction. I have already made a video for you how to program your mind and body to react differently to dangers, to deal with anxiety. Through self-regulation, you will learn how to develop the soothing portion of your nervous system. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate for your time. Please hit the subscribe and like button if you like the content.